that it can feel uncomfortable, if not uneasy, right? Maybe your brain tried to create thoughts to fill the space, or your body started to fidget, trying to create movement in the stillness. I want to ask you, when was the last time you were truly quiet? I don't mean quietly scrolling through your phone or zoning out in front of a screen. I mean the type of physical, mental, and emotional stillness where you are completely present and at rest with nothing demanding your attention. We live in a time where we never have to be alone with ourselves. Our devices feel every in-between moment. And in this relentless pursuit to consume more, we've forgotten the ability to just be. So I want to talk to you today about how we desperately need to create time and space for quiet and stillness. Not as a luxury, but an absolute neurobiological necessity. But first, I want to tell you my own journey with stillness because it is not a part of my personality. My mom describes me as a baby who rarely napped. I was a child who didn't want to miss out on anything. I had this love for life and a passion for dance that not even 5 hours a day could fill. In fact, my nickname was the Energizer Bunny because I kept going and going and going. And then one day, everything changed. And at the age of 13, stillness was forced upon me. I woke up one morning and I could hardly move. I had pain in every joint and muscle in my body and a type of exhaustion I had never before felt. I remember going into my mom's room and trying to do a basic ballet plie, just like this, and I couldn't do it. The exhaustion was too strong. The pain was too great. It was like I went to bed in one body and woke up an entirely different one. After extensive testing in one of the top pediatric hospitals in this country, I'll never forget when the doctor came into my hospital room, rolled one of those metal stools up to my bed, and he said, "You need to accept you're not going to live past your teenage years. You're never going to dance again, never get married or have children, and the sooner you accept this, the easier it's going to be to come to terms with your reality." The type of devastating and shocking stillness that you never want to experience filled the room. And as I sat there in the quiet, while everyone was waiting for me to respond, I don't know if I've ever felt so many emotions at once. And I knew this was one of the most defining moments of my life as a young 13-year-old girl. So in that stillness, I took the biggest deep breath of my life. I squared my shoulders, and I looked the doctors in the eyes, and I said, "I don't accept this." And little did I know that I would have to remake that decision every single day for the next 4 years as I would fight for my life. I became so sick that there were days I couldn't even lift a finger or speak. Physical stillness wasn't a choice, it was a terrifying reality. So much so that there were days I was afraid to go to sleep. Afraid that if I surrendered that conscious will to live, that my body wouldn't wake up. So while the world slept, I would stay awake. I would stay awake and I would will my body to keep fighting, to keep living, turning all of my fear of dying into the hope and the possibility of living in those quiet moments of solitude. When no one was watching, I became a warrior who refused to give up, no matter what the experts or the evidence was telling me. In the stillness is when I forged my greatest strength and resilience. And not by doing, but by becoming. Because the reality is, when we are always consuming, we are robbing ourselves of the opportunity to become. It is only in those quiet moments when we are alone with ourselves where we can truly be honest with who we are and who we want to become. But in this time frame, stillness is more difficult than ever before, because with every ping and notification and click and swipe, we're getting that dopamine hit in our body that over time has made our brain addicted to stimulation. So much so that 11 different studies have shown that people would rather be doing something rather than nothing, even if that something is negative. In fact, one study recruited hundreds of volunteers to take part in what was called thinking periods. So participants were left alone in a lab room for 15 minutes with nothing to do except for the option to push a button and electrically shock themselves. And the results were quite astounding. Even though 100% of participants had previously stated that they would pay money to not be electrically shocked, 25% of women and 67% of men chose to shock themselves rather than just sit there quietly and think. People would rather electrically shock themselves and be alone with their thoughts. We can't even go to the bathroom anymore without our phones, right? We can't even stop at a stoplight without checking our phones. And it's not just us, it's what has happened to our brain in this time of overstimulation. Why is it so uncomfortable to be alone with our thoughts? Makes us face things maybe we've been avoiding. Whether it's fear, uncertainty, loneliness, grief, inadequacy. Right? Distraction is a convenient escape, but stillness is an invitation to face ourselves. And that's uncomfortable. And that's why most of us live in a reactive state. Reactive to our devices, reactive to other people, reactive to our environment, and most of all, reactive to the program within our own nervous system. The program that's been shaped throughout our life, especially by the hard and challenging experiences that have altered us. This internal operating system that wants to keep us safe and protected and small. The place where all of our fears and limiting beliefs create barriers that keep us from stepping out of what is familiar and what is comfortable and accessing the courage to be more. So I want to invite you this week to get quiet, to get still, and ask yourself, what are the fears and beliefs holding me back? In fact, I don't want you to even think upon it. I want you to write about it. Because when we write, we slow the brain down. And that space, that slowness, allows us to not just become aware of those conscious fears and limiting beliefs, but the subconscious ones. The ones that are always running below the surface, because I promise you, whatever's running there, every single day, your brain is going to work to prove them right. See, quietness isn't zoning out. It's tuning in. It's this beautiful space where neuroplasticity meets self-awareness, where your brain rewires itself, not through reaction, but through reflection. When we're willing to sit with our fears and inadequacies and transform them into courage and intentional action. 9 years ago, I went through my second life-altering health experience. I was at the top of the world, top of my professional career. It's like I had climbed my mountain, And then everything was taken from me again. I had a failed surgery, a failed hip surgery that launched my entire body into chronic pain. And I lost the ability to walk. In one moment, again, I went from the epitome of health to struggling to do everyday tasks. I lost my professional dance career. I lost my career as a personal trainer. I had to shut down a successful fitness app because I couldn't contribute it to anymore. And most of all, I lost the ability to even hold my then 2-year-old daughter. Once again, I gave everything I had to get well. I did every modality that exists, up to 200 different injections. I was not willing to accept that the rest of my life would be defined by relentless nerve pain. But after years, nothing worked. Nothing worked, and we were at the point of nearly losing our home because of pouring everything we possibly had into me getting well. And as hard as it was to nearly die for 4 years, this was harder. Every moment of every day was riddled with relentless pain. Even sometimes a touch from my husband or my daughter would create fire through every nerve in my body. And after years and years of this and losing the ability to do everything I loved, it nearly broke me. Earlier one day, my husband and I had just had a discussion how there was nothing left to try. Like we had literally run out of options. And so that night, as I was in the fetal position in my bedroom floor, rocking back and forth, trying to get through one painful moment to the next, I thought, what if I just give up? What if I just accept what all the doctors are telling me? I just accept all these different 5 chronic pain conditions. What if I just accept that this is the rest of my life? What if I just accept what they've told me, that it is only downhill from here? And what if I just stop fighting to fix this? And as I sat there in the truth of what that would look like for myself and my family, that inner warrior who at 13 years old decided that she would never give up, had a resurgence of energy and determination that I thought was completely depleted. So once again, in those quiet moments of solitude, while the world slept, I turned my greatest desperation into my greatest determination. And I thought, if I can't find the answer outside of me, well then I'm gonna create it. And the next day, and for years to come, I studied neuroscience to figure out how to rewire my nervous system out of pain. And out of all the trauma and impact of what I'd gone through when I was younger as well and fighting for my life. In those quiet moments, year after year, I turned my greatest pain into my life's purpose. And I created bioemotional healing, a process based in neuroscience to rewire the nervous system. And for over 6.5 years now, I have had the incredible blessing and privilege to help clients all over the world heal their brain and their body. So in closing, I want to offer this. We are not helpless in the face of overstimulation or in the face of any challenge or adversity that comes our way. The same neuroplasticity that makes our brain vulnerable to addiction and distraction also makes us capable of adaptation and resilience. We don't need to turn the world off. We just need to turn ourselves more fully back on to power, to presence, and to purpose, to proclaim that we will be the programmers of our life. But that requires us to be quiet, because it is in the stillness that character is born. It's where insights arrive. It is where courage and healing begin. Quiet isn't empty. It is full of potential. It is where you move from consumer to creator. And we desperately need to create space for this. Not as an escape from life, but as a return to live it fully. Each of us, no matter what we've gone through, no matter what we've faced, no matter what the experts or evidence are telling us, the brain is the greatest equalizer to our potential, but we'll never be able to access that if we don't be quiet and get still. So I urge you to decide that you will create time and space for that, so that you can fully become the creator of your life. Thank you.